Avengers Age of Ultron is an interesting movie. But the question is it as good as the first Avengers movie? Well, not really. I'd say it's not really as good as the first one. But isn't good in general? Well, let's find out. But first, I'll be talking about the plot first. So, let's begin. When Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr., jumpstarts a dormant peacekeeping program, things go terribly wrong, forcing him, Thor, played by Chris Hemsworth, the Incredible Hulk, played by Mark Ruffalo, and the rest of the Avengers to reassemble. As the fate of Earth hangs in the balance, the team is put to the ultimate test as they battle Ultron, a technological terror heck-bent on human extinction. Along the way, they encounter two mysterious and powerful newcomers, Pietro and Wanda Maximoff. This was released in theaters on May 1st, 2015 in the United States. It was once again directed by Joss Whedon, and it was released on DVD on October 2nd, 2015. And the story was written by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Age of Ultron is a fun and worthy sequel, but you can feel the overabundance of CGI mayhem starting to wear thin in these character-stuffed superhero flicks. Even so, it's a fun time at the movies. I think it was inevitable that this sequel would have a hard time satisfying the fans and critics. The first movie was not only a major first-time event showcasing all these superhero characters together on the big screen for the first time, but it was also a shock that it worked so well. Naturally, there was the wow factor, the surprise. We were all wanting a hit, but really, we knew. Everything in that movie was fresh and new, to a degree. Mainly because this Avengers team were so together for the first time doing it. So could this sequel carry the ever-growing pressures of the hype machine? Well, plot-wise, it's pretty much as before. The Avengers team are up against an enemy who has a massive army of robot drones, as before when it was a massive army of aliens. The difference being the enemy has been invaderly created by Stark, or at least turned out to be evil, which was not foreseen. This creation also kickstarts the bickering within the team, which will eventually lead to other movies. And there is one problem with the movie. In all Marvel movies now, these don't really feel like movies. Well, to me, they feel more like a requirement, an obligation, or consistent filler, merely to lead you into the next movie, and so on. Most of this movie is simply exposition and setups for the other things that will happen in other movies. Interested with high-octane action. It never really feels like a standalone movie. Admittedly, these comic book movies aren't really like that, of course. It's all part of the wilder universe, like the comics, but at times, it kind of feels like you're being cheated. Naturally, things have to be bigger and better than before. Thusly, we have more characters to contend with, more Avengers. All the regular members do pretty much what they did before, except Hawkeye gets more backstory, which fleshes him out. Much needed considering he's just that guy with the bow and arrow, and easily the weakest of the team. We get more Hulk action, including excellent face-off against Stark in his Hulkbuster suit, which is so awesome, and a taster of some backstory for Black Widow. Most of this is conjured by newcomer Scarlet Witch and her brain filling with powers. Despite looking and coming across more like an X-Men character, she is actually pretty good. Well portrayed by Elizabeth Olsen with some cool red glowing electric laser bow excreting fire powers. New to the throwdown along with Scarlet Witch is Speedy Gonzalez Quicksilver, who pretty much does the same thing as Quicksilver did in X-Men Days of Future Past. Which was better, you ask? Well, visually, I think this Quicksilver looked better. The other silver haired broke with silver sneakers looking plain stupid. But effects-wise, X-Men movie wins the day there. They do the same kind of thing but not as much depth or attention. Plus, X-Men got there first quite simply. So, I like the X-Men Days of Future Past Quicksilver better. Next up is Vision, or Jarvis, who honestly looks like a child has designed his outfit, but does blend in so well with the team. He's a quiet, soft-spoken, strong character, kind of like Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen. and pretty powerful, which kind of made me wonder, why would he need Avenger training at the end? Lastly is, of course, the bad guy Ultron, who is brilliantly voiced by James Spader. But that's as far as I go on the positive note. First off, why exactly does Ultron turn out to be bad? I realize he thinks he's doing the Earth a favor by erasing mankind, but surely something with that level of intelligence will see the downside to that plan. He thinks humans are monsters, but is he wrong? As Vision says at one point, he was only born yesterday, yet he can see the issue with wiping out mankind, so why can't Ultron? I also have to say, I didn't really like his design. I realize it's close to the comics, but it just didn't look right to me. He looked like a deformed Terminator. This also leads me to the effects side of things. Why in the blazes did they give Ultron a moving mouth? It looks just cliche. Same mistake was made with Optimus Prime. It just looked really just wow. His mouth section shouldn't have been moved.
Overall, I wasn't actually impressed by the special effects. Maybe it's because I'm becoming more and more numb to the same kind of CGI stuff. Maybe in general, I just didn't feel anything for the effects. We all know there's gonna be a ton of load of CGI. Yeah, some of it looks good like the helicarrier, but then again, some of it is obvious. Obvious green screen, obvious ragdoll effects. Ultron looked average as his drones just became weightless toys that were completely ineffective, much like the completely ineffective alien hordes in the first movie. One thing that did look good were the destruction effects. Apparently destruction and carnage effects have come on leaps and bounds these days because they do look awesome. Funnily enough, this leads me to think about Man of Steel and how people moaned about the destruction in that movie. Well, what about this, folks? There was massive destruction in this film, and I'm pretty sure many innocent people got killed amongst all that. Look at the Hulk vs. Stark fight. Holy Jesus Christ. How many people got wiped out there? What about that runaway train sequence? Good golly, Miss Holly. Absolutely ludicrous amounts of havoc. Great ruination effects, though. The one thing that did disappoint me, as I already said, was the fact that the movie ends in virtually the same way as the first. The whole last act. There are masses and masses of robot drones swarming all over the place. Not alien drones, robot drones, remember? And Hawkeye is running around with his flippin' bow and arrow. I know they even addressed that, but it still seems draft. I also have to question Black Widow's use here. She can't karate kick robots to death, and her revolver is of limited use, so what the frick? The rest of the team are legitimately useful. I did also have to wonder, how exactly Ultron managed to build such a vast army of robots and that machine thingy in such a small space of time, but who cares? Kudos to the lightheartedness of it all. It hits just the right spot for a comic book adaptation. Some moments did make me smile, such as Thor claiming he can't be brainwashed by Scarlet Witch because he is a god, but he does get brainwashed. Then the little touch where Vision looks at Thor and his cloak, then quickly and sneakily creates his own because clearly he just fell in love with the whole look. Nice little witty moments which do make the movie more enjoyable. At last they tend to overcome by more obvious silly quips and gags for the kids. One running joke to me being Falcon. What the heck use is this guy? He wears metallic wings, but surely anybody and any top pilot presumably could wear them. So how is he really that special? Plus the way he just swoops down right at the end out of nowhere, like what the heck? Where the heck have you randomly bloke who wears metal wings? I mean, like, seriously. And in all, I did enjoy bits of the movie, but found myself losing interest quickly. The in-your-face tidal wave of CGI really becomes too much, especially when the action really digs in. I was never really engaged in anything that much. I never really had much interest in the characters because I knew they were all gonna live, except for one. And basically, I found myself enjoying the little tidbits that either hint at other things or things to come. The end mid-credits scene was far more exciting than anything else. They usually are. Seeing those little snippets that leave you dribbling for more works so well. more so than the full-length feature at times. Overall, I am finding myself getting bored of seeing the same kind of thing: robots, lasers, mech suits, martial arts, big futuristic jets, and carrots, etc., etc. The original wow factor of these comic books is ebbing away fast.
Like a true Avengers movie, this movie's great strength is also its weakness. Its light-hearted and playful tone makes for some fun moments, but they also rob this film of any real depth, emotion, or suspense. While Marvel movies are good at being fun to watch with their bright action sequences and lively banter between characters, even though it was supposed to be a heated battle, at a certain point it just gets old. Throughout the film, there was no doubt the Avengers will defeat Ultron, so the entrance then lies in how they will defeat him, and the answer is a disappointing one. They simply just overpower him. If you enjoy this Marvel series where the villains emerge with no real interesting motive and are beating at a drop of a hat, then of course this movie is a must-see. I'm just holding out hope that Marvel takes more risks in their future films.
At last, the part all of you people watching this movie have waited for. So, my final rating for this movie is an 8.5
Out of 10. Here's Lowe's bonus. Would I recommend it to someone? Yes, I definitely would to recommend this to someone, especially if you're a die-hard Avengers movie fan. Because if you are a die-hard Avengers movie fan, you will definitely love this new Avengers Age of Ultron. Well, that's my movie review for the movie Avengers Age of Ultron. Hope you guys enjoy. Leave a comment in the section below of what you thought about this review, and if there's any movies that you would want me to review. And of course, subscribe and smash that like button. Bye! See you next time on the next movie review.